Okay, hello. Welcome to the Illumination Project. Um, my name is Winston. I'm going to be your host today. And today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what the Illumination Project is all about and see if or how I can help you at all. Um, so what I want to go through is the question of what is money. Okay, I mean, we all have cash in our wallets, we carry around Federal Reserve notes. People back in the olden days would use gold and silver as money, and today, we use electronic money or credit cards, right? So a big question we want to ask is what is money? And money is absolutely important. We use it every day. We use it, to pay our bills, to pay for our tuition, and exchanging goods and services, right? I mean, money makes things trade easier. You don't have to go barter. So yeah, that's money is important in our lives. And also, money is the most sought after commodity. People throughout history have always tried to monopolize money. Money has the highest demand out of any other good. Everyone wants money. You know, if you talk to anybody, I'm sure in the back of their minds they're always trying to find money, right? People people need money to live, basically, and the power to create money, like I said, has been the most sought after power throughout history. People would kill, to get control of the printing presses. People have always wanted to be able to create money for a country or things like that. And kings and bankers have really always fought to get this money power to issue the money for the people. And this is also a critical thing with what's going on in the economy right now. And so we want to really understand this key principle. So yeah, what is money today? What are the bills that you carry around in your pocket? What it says it's legal tender, right? I mean, it's backed by the good faith and and credibility of the federal government, right? Okay. So today, we use paper money. Paper money is easy to carry and convenient, but it has a few very fatal flaws. Okay. One is that it has high demand throughout the world. Everyone throughout the world uses dollars to trade between other countries. That's why the United States has world reserve currency status. It means that if you're going to trade goods and services with another country, you got to trade in dollars. Okay. Same with oil. That's one thing, is that you have to trade oil in dollars. Um, Another big flaw with the dollar is that it can be created out of thin air through the printing press. Okay, you guys have heard about the Federal Reserve, right? You know that institution creates the money that we have. But that's also a big problem, is because the dollar used to be backed by gold and silver back in the before 1971, before they got off the gold standard. But after 1971, the Federal Reserve had free reign to print money out of nothing. There was nothing stopping it. There was, it wasn't backed by gold anymore. And so this is one of its big fatal flaws, is that now we have higher rates of inflation than ever before. Our governments can create money out of nothing and use it to fund wars, use it to fund federal programs, social programs, and things of that nature. Also, another big flaw is that the ability to create money, something of high demand, out of thin air, gives a lot of power to the people who create the money. So some of us may not be familiar with this, but the Federal Reserve is not exactly a government institution. It's a hybrid organization. So yeah, this is who creates our money. The Federal Reserve System creates our money, but what is the Federal Reserve System? That's the question that we got to ask. So is it a part of the government, or is it a private institution? It is not. It's a hybrid institution, like I said before. It is a banking cartel. It's a group of very large and very powerful banking interests who've come together in a cartel arrangement and have got the federal government into it as a partner in order to use the force of law to enforce the cartel agreement. So it's a hybrid. It's both regulated in a sense by the federal government, and it has private aspects to it as well. It's overseen by a board of governors who are appointed by the president and the Federal Open Market Committee, which decides monetary policy. Okay, but I mean, you got to think about it. I mean, if if we have a private institution that creates our money, basically, it gives a lot of power to a small group of people who have the power to create the money for our country. Okay, so that's a lot of power given to a few people, and um, so yeah, you may not realize this, but the Federal Reserve does wield a lot of influence in your life. Whenever they print money, prices of gas, food, things that you buy go up. The Federal Reserve decides, whether or not some business is going to get a loan, right? The Federal Reserve banks have a lot of influence in our way of life, and a lot of people don't seem to realize this either. But the guy who has the money makes the rules, right? So, and more people are finding out about this and are taking action to protect themselves financially. And I want to show you exactly where this is heading, and how you can plot your financial strategies and how you can prosper throughout this time. And I want to show you exactly the all the elements that come together within our financial structure to really get you to see past all the fluff that the media gives out, which isn't necessarily true. Okay. So yeah, okay. So are you taking action? Do you know what to do with your dollars? Do you know where to invest or where the market is heading? And do you even know why we're in the recession at all? A lot of people back in '07, right, when we had the whole housing market crisis. They don't really realize how interconnected all of our financial markets are, and that one crisis in the real estate market can have a huge effect across the world. Okay. And yeah, the truth is that this crisis has been building up since the 1970s, even before the 1970s. It really started with the foundation of the Federal Reserve System. And yeah, this is the big crisis. This is the big the finale of this monetary system. And the truth is that the financial crisis is not over and will most likely lead to some very major changes in your lifetime. Our way of life is going to change dramatically, but hopefully, I think the results of this crisis will eventually, lead to a better system. I think a better system of governments, a better system of trade. So I know this seems hard to believe, but look at what's happened before. 15 years ago, no one would have imagined that we would go to war in Iraq or Afghanistan or even have 9/11. Okay, if you asked someone in 1995 that we were gonna have huge wars in all of these foreign countries, I mean, no one would have believed that. And even 5 years ago, no one would have believed that we would have the biggest economic crisis since the Great Depression, right? So yeah, that really gets you wondering that are there any other surprises down the road? And if there are, you should be aware of what's going to happen, or how you can protect yourself. So I mean that's just should be common sense, right? Yeah. So the question is, how bad will it get, and why? So from a lot of my research that I've done, there's really actually two things that could happen. We could have hyperinflation, or we can have a Great Depression lasting 10 to 15 years. Um, I'm thinking that hyperinflation is most likely the scenario that's going to happen. But the result, there may be, of course, a Great Depression afterwards that'll last a while too, as we try to restructure things. But again, I want to show you exactly why this stuff is going to happen. I'm not just throwing these random facts out there. There's real reasons, and I want to show you exactly what those reasons are. Okay. So again, a lot of people are walking around their daily lives just doing what they've normally done before and not really noticing what's happening around them. What their environment is trying to tell them. I mean, we would have, we have the media telling us that there's a war, there's a big financial crisis, we've got global warming, we've got all of this stuff, and yet it still hasn't gotten into people's heads, that something, well, I mean, they know that something's wrong, but they don't exactly know exactly what is wrong. So that's kind of what I want to illuminate in you. And yeah, you may not realize it, but this kind of thing has happened before in history. But this time, the crisis is going to be a global phenomena. Okay, it isn't just going to be isolated in one country, not like Weimar Germany or Zimbabwe or Argentina. This is going to be a big event, and it is absolutely important that you be aware of what's going to happen, and so that you can protect yourself and your family and thrive, because there is a way to thrive. You know, big crises present big opportunities, and if you're in the know, then you can be the ones who see this as an opportunity rather than a tragedy. So of course, those who know will make incredible gains, while those who don't are going to experience terrible hardship. And so I want to really go through kind of the history of fiat currencies, what happens to them, and there's actually really a 7-stage process that happens during a currency's lifetime. Okay, so this is the 7 stages of a nation's currency. Number 1, the currency starts out good. It's backed up by a precious metal, gold or silver. And as the country starts to develop economically, it takes on more and more economic burden, layer upon layer of public works and social programs. Okay, and number 3, as the country's political influence starts to grow, so does its military spending. And number 4, with all the military spending, now the country's military is put to use, and expenses start going through the roof. Okay, so the country now has to start debasing its currency from gold and silver to paper money. So there's more paper money, but less gold and silver. So number 5, to pay for the wars and other crippling expenses, the country starts to print more and more money. As the country prints more and more money, severe price inflation takes place and faith is lost in that country's currency. Number 7 is that the country's currency then collapses and money flows back into precious metals such as gold and silver. So if you take a look at this scale, this timeline, and you really compare it to what's happening in America, you can accurately assess that we're right between the stages of number 6 and number 7. Okay, if you look at all the charts of where the money is flowing, you see that gold and silver are up high, precious metals are up high, commodities are up high, the prices of all these goods are going up, and people are losing money in paper markets, stocks, even in some cases real estate, if they don't know how to invest correctly, especially in this market. Yeah, I mean, so you see these trends happening, okay, but you have to really look at it from this perspective. Okay, yeah, so we are right between the stages 6 and 7, like I said before. So my goal is that I want to show you how to take these troubled times and turn them into enormous profits. Does that sound good to you? More millionaires were created during the Great Depression than at any other point in history, and wealth goes through cycles and is transferred from person to person. When we have hyperinflationary events, when we have catastrophic, financial troubles, that doesn't mean that the wealth is destroyed. That just means that wealth is transferred from one group of person to another group. That's really all that it means. None of the actual material wealth, it changes. It's just our financial situation changes. So yeah, so right now we're on the verge of experiencing the greatest transference of wealth in human history. And my goal is to get you on the winning side so that you're not afraid of the recession, and you can anticipate what's going to happen, and you know how to prepare yourself. So I want you to join me on our learning experience. My original price is $400 for the course, but since I'm doing pretty well in business, I want to give you a discount for $200. So shoot me an email at wnstnhl@yahoo.com, and hopefully we'll get you squared away. So thanks a lot for watching my webinar, and have a good rest of the evening. Bye-bye.